We'll call this meeting of the Newark City Council Finance Committee to order. We do have two pieces of legislation on our agenda tonight. The first piece is to consider resolution number 1594, appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation. And this is dealing with our summer youth program, and Ms. Giltz is at the podium.
This request is for $6,585.90, and that is to reimburse the services of Jeff and Chuck in the Parks Department.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bug.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Floyd. Any questions or comments from the committee? Questions, comments from the audience? Thank you, Ms. Giltz, for all your work in the Parks Department. All those in favor of moving this on to full council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Giltz. Our next resolution is to consider resolution number 1596, appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation. Section 1 is dealing with the retirement payout. I see Director Rhodes at the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Steve Martin served the citizens of Newark very well for 33 years, and this is his payout per our contract.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Bug. Second, Mr. Cost. And obviously, thank you for his service to the city. So,
yep.
All those, any questions from the committee? Questions from the audience? All those in favor of moving this on to full council, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Section 2 of this resolution is dealing with the payout for Jennifer Bumpus. I see Chief Connell approaching the podium.
Jen was one of our dispatchers. She's resigned, decided to take employment elsewhere, and she served us well as well. So we need to pay out her time on the books.
Thank you, Chief.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Bub. Second, Mrs. Floyd. Questions, comments from the committee? Questions, comments from the audience? All those in favor of moving this on to full council, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. 5-0. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
That concludes business of finance. Next up is service.
Let's call the Service Committee to order. Members present, myself, Mr. Bubb, Mr. Blake, Mr. Roletta, and Mr. Johnson filling in for Mr. Rath. Consider resolution number 1593, authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract with the Licking County Search and Rescue Team by leasing to them one sea nymph boat and equipment and declaring an emergency. Chief?
Thank you. We have a boat that we used for water rescue for a number of years. Currently, we would like to share that boat with the community. Anytime there's a water rescue in town here, the Licking County Rescue Team is involved in that and works well with us as a team to do this. Right now, they have an opportunity to utilize that boat more. We haven't been using it lately. They can service it, keep it up, and we can maintain ownership and get it back if we ever wish. So I believe it's to serve the citizens of Newark best. It could be repurposed throughout the county and respond into Newark if needed. So.
This says here in an emergency?
In an emergency. Is that what you're saying? Declaring an emergency?
Declaring an
yes.
emergency. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Any particular reason?
We're just trying to expedite this so we can get it issued to the rescue team and they can get it serviced and in the place where it can service us better. So you never know when you're going to need it.
Any questions? Motion? Second, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the audience? All those in favor of sending this on to full council signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Goes to 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Resolution 1595 for the improvement of the intersection of West Church Street and North 30th Street, including an added turn lane, increased turning radii, upgraded traffic signal, sidewalk replacement, curb ramps, and resurfacing pavement lying within the city of Newark. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is legislation that comes from ODOT. It's what they call their final legislation, in that the city will cooperate with them on the upcoming project. They are getting ready to put the project out to bid. Excuse me. And our share of the construction cost is due, and this legislation will provide for that also.
Is this a state deadline for the emergency?
Yes, they wish to have the legislation and the pavement back to them by October 30th. So in order to meet that deadline, we needed to put the emergency clause on there.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Bub,
Second.
second by Mr. Blank. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the audience? All those in favor of sending this on to full council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same nay, same sign. Goes on 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that concludes search committee.
Okay, moving right along with Personnel Committee. Committee members present are Doug Marmee, Brian Bubb, Mark Guthrie, Alex Roletta, and myself. We're here first to discuss Ordinance 15-28, setting compensation with respect to certain appointed officials of the City of Newark, Ohio, and repealing all ordinances and resolutions in conflict herewith. I know, okay, go ahead, Mr. Rhodes.
We just drew a straw back there, so I decided to come out. But we're all here if there's questions. And Doug Sassen's here tonight, too. So the first one we're looking at is the Service Director, Safety Director, Human Resources, and the Director of Development. And what we proposed is keeping the salaries steady for the next 4 years, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Okay, thank you. I know I was not here at the last meeting, but I know there was some question about the HR director because of the change in the charter. And Mr. Law Director, we got an email from you saying the ordinance does not need to change for the HR director. He was made a classified employee in the last charter review, but was not made subject to any written personnel policy. Therefore, his salary is still established in the manner as set forth in the proposed legislation. Correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any questions up here or any discussion?
Madam Chair, I'm going to support this because I don't have an issue with the salaries, and certainly don't have any issue with the fact that they're consistent across the board. I have expressed concerns in the past, and I've had a good dialogue with Law Director Sasson about my concern that I will probably take to my grave regarding the fact that the HR Director's position, and by the way, this is nothing to do with the person, it has to do with the position, is classified by charter, but is basically treated the same as the other directors. There's not a thing apparently that can be done about it. I think it's
Mark, I had a discussion with Doug on that, just a small one, and I think that you could do something legislatively about that. I think, Doug, do you want to weigh in on that?
Well, I don't know, Mark and I have exchanged a series of emails. I don't know if you still have any questions in that regard. We talked about that issue this morning, but
Okay.
I'll kind of leave that up to Mark if you have
well. I get the impression that it seems to me that the real question has to do with having a stated policy of some sort, and correct me if I'm wrong, all the rest of the classified employees, they accrue sick leave, they accrue vacation pay, they're accountable for a 40-hour week, but this special language that was passed by the Charter Commission, which Mike and the mayor had nothing to do with,
Right.
sort of put this person in purgatory or something. You know, he's in between heaven and hell, I guess, and that there's no requirement that the HR director accrue time, or because there's no stated policy. I mean, I didn't think this was a good idea when it was proposed to the Charter Commission, and I don't think it's a good idea now. And I think that when we deal with these kind of things, you know, it raises the significance of an error that can occur when this kind of thing happens. And I mean, I don't know. I'm just so frustrated with it. I don't know what to do. But frankly, if it can be dealt with legislatively, it doesn't need to be dealt with in this legislation, because this legislation has to do with their pay. I'm assuming that if there were to be, Mr. Sasson, if there were to be legislation, there could be something separate other than this piece of legislation. Is that right? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Bud, second by Guthrie. Are there any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay. On to ordinance 15-29, setting compensation with respect to certain elected officials of the City of Newark, Ohio, and repealing all ordinances and resolutions in conflict herewith. Mr. Rhodes.
Mr. Chair, again, this was also tabled, so at the last committee meeting. So at that point, what you have in front of you is what we had at the last committee meeting, showing 0% raises for the mayor, law director, auditor, president of council, council at large. There's been some discussion about the auditor's salary. If there is a desire of council to change that to a cabinet level position, a motion would have to be made, it'd have to be seconded, it'd have to be done on the floor committee. That amount would be $3,376.12 to bring it to level.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, Mr. Guthrie?
I've got a motion, but I shouldn't make it until this is on the floor.
Yeah, we need a motion. Do we have a motion to accept this?
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Bub, second by Roletta. Okay, motion's on the floor. Now, Mr. Guthrie?
Yeah, Madam Chair, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that it takes 1.5% a year over 4 years to get the auditor's position to parity with the cabinet, and that would be my proposal. Is there any prohibition, Mr. Law Director, on doing it in a 4-year increment?
Mr. Law Director, could you come to the podium just for Autumn's sake, please? Thank you.
It doesn't make any difference whether you do it in a lump sum, whether you do it in a dollar figure, whether you do it in a percentage. The only thing that's required is whatever that compensation package is going to be for the next 4 years has to be set before the first day of that term. So it can be whatever you want. I'm not very good at math, but I think if you give the auditor 1.5% for the next 4 years, that's certainly within your prerogative to do that. But that's going to take that salary in excess of the service, safety, HR directors. I'm not sure that math equals out.
Isn't it just a few $100s?
Well, again, I'm going to defer to you on the math. That's why I went to law school.
Well, let me ask. Can I ask you a question, Doug? Are during the mayor's term of office, the department heads are allowed to have a raise, correct?
Department heads are elected officials, are not during their term.
And so, let's say it takes him to 71 and they're at 70. In 4 years, is there a decent chance they may get a raise? But he isn't going to get one unless it's in this piece of legislation.
That would be up to the 10 of you.
Yeah.
He's not going to get one during his term.
Yeah.
The auditor's compensation package can't go up or down during the course of that term.
Yeah, well, Madam Chair, I think that %1.5 a year, I figured it out somewhere between 70 and 71,000. Is that, someone else calculated that, Mayor?
Could we do a flat dollar amount? I mean, I'm just saying if you want to equal it. It's $844.03 a year for 4 years.
Fine with me.
The exact amount, we're just playing with percentages.
That's fine with
You
me.
got compounding percentages, I think what that's saying.
And to be honest, I'd love to just give it to them all at once, but I think that we have a situation here where we're all trying to be conscientious about next year's budget, the following year's budget, and so I think that we should do it gradually.
Mayor, can I ask again, is $844.03?
That's my quick one, then I
Okay.
added on here. Let's do
Okay.
it mathematically to make sure 844.03.
Okay.
Then you just replace those $4 amounts.
Okay, we have an amendment on the floor. Yeah, Mr. Sassen?
Just to clarify with Mr. Guthrie, so I get this right with Autumn tomorrow, is that the motion to add $844.03 per year for the next 4 years?
Yes, that's right. The mayor's a good mathematician, and I'd say that that's just fine.
Yes, that's it exactly.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Aletta. Go ahead.
Well, the only other comment I wanted to make is, I've brought this up before, and it's a subject that, the Charter Commission could take up next time. I propose in the last 2 charter changes that we consider merging the auditor and the treasurer. And, I mean, we've got the fiscal issues we've got. To me, it should have happened a long time ago. I don't know why the Charter Commissions didn't view it as buku other cities around the state have done it. I think that, and again, this isn't about personalities, it's about the budget, and it's about the positions, and it would just, lots of cities have gone to finance directors or auditors that are doing the tax collection also, and I just think it's time for Newark to look that direction. Thank you.
Okay, we have an amendment on the floor. Yeah, Mr. Monty.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I agree with Mr. Guthrie that it's about our budget, and albeit that I would love to support the fact that our auditor deserves better pay. There's many positions within the city that I would possibly say the same thing if we had the money. But during the budget situation that we have, I can't support a pay raise in any way, shape, or form. I'm looking at a lot of these other positions in there. Do they deserve more? Yeah. I mean, it'd be great if we could pay everybody more. But I just know, looking at what we're already looking at, staring us in the face right now at next year's budget, even $3,000 or $800 over 4 years is still, if every employee had that, then it's going to be a huge impact. Does council deserve better pay? We would get better, possibly better candidates, or more candidates. Maybe not even better was not the correct word, but more candidates trying. Yeah, that was. And we always want that. We want a lot of different people trying to step up. So I'm not going to support a pay raise at this point. I can't. And I mean, I love our current auditor. I think he deserves what he's getting paid and more. But I believe that about a lot of employees within the city of Newark and other elected officials too. So, thank you.
Okay, anybody else up here?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo those sentiments. Right now we can't afford the pay raises that have been doled out over the last couple of years, and it's very possible we're going to have to dip into some rainy day funds for this budget for next year, and I don't think we can do that just to fund more raises. Mr. Johnson's well deserving, but I can't support that as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I appreciate and respect everybody's opinion. I wish we've had a number of reclassifications come before this council in the last couple of years, and the vast majority of this council was voted for them. And, here we sit, not wanting to give the auditor an $800 raise, and it's just sort of mind-blowing because some of those raises far exceeded the number we're looking at here. And the vast majority of this council voted for them, knowing what our fiscal condition was down the road. So, I just think this is an appropriate thing to do. I am, so I hope that we have enough votes to get this approved.
Is there anyone else up here who wants to?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make one more comment. Mr. Johnson is unopposed at this current time, and you never know if this would have been passed prior. How do we know that somebody else may not have taken the position or attempted to get the position, knowing what the compensation package was going to be? That's why, always in the past we tried to get these done before the deadline for applications even to run. And so there, that's just another reason why, we shouldn't give a raise now, knowing that, he's unopposed. So that's another thing to support him. Thank you.
Anyone else up here? Anyone in the audience? Yes, sir, Mr. White.
Rusty White, 1409 Residence Drive, Newark, Ohio. Kind of rebuttal. Last week, I had suggested, a council member had brought up about the raise 1.5% previously. And then last week I brought up that I did not like the 1.5% over a 4-year span. That if this person deserved the raise and was that far behind, you should just go ahead and give it to them. Give them the whole thing. If any one of you were making $3,000 less than everybody else, you would not like that. And you would not like it over a 4-year period. You would consider it an insult. So I think you ought to just go ahead, get some backbone, and give the guy his raise. If he's due the raise, give it to him. And don't dole it out over 4 years. It was suggested last week that I had asked for raises for multiple people. I did not even ask for one raise. I just said, if you're going to give a guy a raise, give it to him. That's all I said. I don't know the auditor, never met the auditor, I've only ever seen the auditor in this room. That's all. And that's when he was standing up here saying whatever he had to say. It was suggested that the city, and again has been suggested by the city, can't afford to give this person a raise. And I quote, even if it means a raise for one person at the detriment of another individual with their job or service, I have to say we freeze the raise. That's not fair either. That's not fair at all. I mean, it's been brought up for 1.5%. I'm saying just give the whole deal. This committee doles out money for anything, like pet projects on up to pickpockets. By pickpockets, you're giving $200,000 to Licking County, who charged this city double what it should have charged for years. And they even admit that they had overcharged. Have they come back and have said, we overcharged you, so let's give you back what we overcharged you? Nope. Have you negotiated to get that money back? Don't think so. But you're willing to hand them a contract and give them another $200,000 with no guarantee that the service is going to be satisfactory. Is there a back-out clause just in case it's not satisfactory? I seriously doubt it. Have you negotiated to say, give us a year's free trial to help make up for what you've overcharged us? And if we don't like it, we walk away. No harm, no foul. If we do like it, then next year, we'll give you your $200,000. I seriously doubt it. Bicycle paths. You're going to put asphalt on a bicycle path. That's over $4,000. Now, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it comes from grants. I don't know if it comes from liens. I don't know where it comes from. But you're going to spend $4,000 to put asphalt on a bicycle path. Back when I was a kid, I rode a bike. Southern Ohio. Our bike paths was dirt roads and gravel roads. Sometimes we'd ride along with a buddy, and he'd drop into a pothole, and we wouldn't see him for a quarter of a mile. I mean, we had potholes back then. Bicycle path didn't have a pothole. Now, it's a little extreme there, but you get to my point. If the $4,000 is coming out of the city coffers, table it and give the auditor his raise and be done with it.
Mr. White, I forgot to ask you early on, please give your name and address. I know your name, but please say it.
I thought I did. Rusty White, 1409
Okay.
Residence Drive, Newark. I just cannot see dragging out a raise for a person that you believe should have the raise and then doling it out at 1.5% per year over 4 years. There's no guarantee that person will be here through 4 years. None at all. And part of that might be dissatisfaction with their pay. Part of that might be dissatisfaction with their job, don't know. But there's no guarantee. And they've already lost money in the years past. So, and you're not going to make that up. You're just not going to do it. So, my last word on the subject. Give him his due. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we have an amendment on the floor to amend this proposal to add $844.03 a year for the next 4 years to the auditor's pay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries 3-2. Okay, now we have an amended motion on the floor with the pay raise included. Anyone have anything to say about that? Okay, all those in favor of the amended motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Ryan, did you vote?
I vote in favor.
Okay. Motion carries 4-1. All righty. That ends our Personnel Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you.